Okay, so this is the breakout for WASH and education. Welcome. And we have some great presenters today. I hope you did get a chance to read their bios in the materials online, especially, and because they have amazing bios. And our two presenters today. Oh, by the way, we do need to end promptly at 10:35. So we want to get rolling and get this going. So just real quickly then, because you can read their bios, I'll let you do that on your own. But I do want to say a few things. Heidi Rickles, if you look at this this handout that we got here today, and also all the graphics on the website and the registration materials, that has the prints of Heidi Rickles all over it. She is a marketing master professional, communication professional. She worked for Project Cure and other NGOs. She consults with NGOs on communication and marketing. So she's got that background as part of what she does. Since 2012, she has been a co-founder of Freshwater International. And it's a wonderful NGO that works mostly in Malawi, doing water projects and sanitation projects in villages, in clinics, but also in schools, this education presentation. We loved having her here in Colorado because she was just central in working with WASH in the district, as she mentioned earlier. She moved to Montana, darn it, and we're saddened by that move, but it's with COVID and with Zoom, it's like she hasn't left, and she continues to be central to this. So hello, Heidi. Thanks so much. Then the E-Club of WASH, which she mentioned earlier. Patty Hall is our second presenter. She is also has done wonderful work in the area of WASH and education. As she was an educator for 30 years, worked a lot in service learning when she was in the education field. In 2007, she completed her first well project, and after that, she got a passion for water in the developing world. But one of the things that's interesting about what she's done, it's amazing about what she's done, is she's really made a movement. It's not just some projects, it's a movement where she's linked school children in America with schools in Africa and other parts of the world to fundraise, work together, and so far she's made influence on over almost 1 million children in the United States in the schools, 994 projects, 449,000 individuals in the developing world have benefited from her programs and her connecting the youth of America to those projects and to youth overseas. Engage, educate, inspire. So this is what Patty has done around the world. And she's been noticed now. She's spoken on Good Morning America, The Today Show, PBS NewsHour. So this project has just really ballooned, and she's affected so many lives. So my understanding is we'll start with Patty, and please take it away.
And Heidi, you're going to put up our screen. All right. So good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. And I am Patty Hall with H2O for Life. I founded the organization 12 years ago after retiring from education. And our goal is to, as he said, engage, inspire, and educate youth about the global water crisis. So our mission is to have kids learn about what they can do to take local actions to conserve and protect our water resources. And then another action piece is to raise funds for a partner school somewhere in the world that desperately needs water, sanitation, and hygiene education. So we cannot do this work without partners. And Heidi has been a great partner with H2O for Life because people always ask me, how do I build a well? Well, I don't know how to build a well. So we use experts on the ground, like the organizations that Heidi runs, to do all of our projects. So it's coming together to work together to raise the funds to implement these projects. And the other thing that we do is support projects where we have youth provide half the funds for the project, because we really believe that the other half has to engage the local recipient community. And the NGOs that we choose to work with are experts at engaging the community, getting them to provide whatever locally sourced materials they can provide, to have monetary buy-in so that there is a sustainability piece. The project then can last for many, many years. So the picture you're looking at is just a group of students from Stillwater Junior High in Minnesota. And I am also a White Bear Lake Rotarian, joined Rotary after I retired. And this school engaged over 1,100 students to walk with water bottles on their head and set a Guinness Book of World Records. And also over their years with H2O for Life raised more than $80,000 for projects. So whenever anybody thinks youth can't do amazing things, we're here to tell you that youth can do amazing things and they can make a difference in the world. So you can see the 4 things on the top: Freshwater Project International, H2O for Life, Rotary, and WASH Rotary Action Groups. Long before I became a Rotarian, I was approached through Steve Warner, because Steve is a real connector, to do some global grant projects where H2O for Life provided funds to support global grant projects. And in the last 7 years, with the help of Nancy Gilbert, Steve Warner, Procter & Gamble, Rotary Clubs Worldwide, and local clubs, we have raised $1.2 million for 60 projects, 15 in Malawi, 15 in Tanzania, and 30 in Nigeria. So there is really a lot of ways to raise these funds that get a lot of work done that are impacting many, many people. So next slide, please. We are connected with the global goals, the Sustainable Development Goals. And I was always amazed as a teacher that many educators are not familiar with these goals, because I think it's really important for our youth in the United States to understand that these global goals include the United States. I think often we say the word global and we think it's somewhere else, but we have the same issues in all of these sustainable goal areas that there are worldwide. Last year, this consortium focused on clean water and sanitation with quality education. So we did our whole presentations about hooking education in with that. But we know there is much, much broader impact of WASH around the world. So next slide. Maybe. We know that Rotary it supports 7 pillars and seven big focuses, and water is the blue thread that does move through all of them. So education is key to change. I think if you talk to anybody, we need to educate the generations coming up to be the leaders of change for our future. And our service project not only changes lives for kids who receive water and sanitation because it keeps them in schools, but we are also educating a generation of youth in the United States who understand that their actions can truly change the world. And I really encourage Rotarians and other service clubs around the world to look at the youth in your community, because it's really an underutilized resource. And we can get those kids engaged and have them help us reach our Rotarian goals. Plus, I'll tell you a quick short story. The first year I did H2O for Life in my classroom, I took some 8th grade students to a Rotary Club nearby, and they did a presentation about the project we were doing. And there, I had 8 swirly boys and 8 swirly girls doing this presentation, and they were great. And they sat down and had lunch with the Rotarians, as many Rotary meetings do. And when we were driving home in the car, I had 4 boys in the car with me, and they said, "Wow, Ms. Hall, we didn't realize that older people sat around and did such good things." They were really impressed that they came up and said, "We need some people to help with the food shelf," and hands went up. "We need people to volunteer here," and hands went up. And I looked at that as an opportunity for Rotary to really let young people know that there is a path for them to continue service throughout their life. So that's an important thing. Health improves in schools when you have water and sanitation. And Heidi and I both focus on schools, as well as she does a lot of health centers. H2O for Life totally focuses on school to school connections. It makes sense because we're working with youth, but Heidi also adds global health centers to her program as well. But anytime that water and sanitation comes into a school, schools track an uptick on the health of their school. Kids miss less days of school. Girls attend once there is adequate access to sanitation when they reach puberty. Otherwise, they sometimes drop out. And so it's so important to get WASH into schools. And along with that comes the hygiene education. And all of the NGO partners that we choose to work with really do a great job of educating the school about why that is important. Investing in education leads to economic returns. That's another development goal that Rotary is really supportive of. And in 2018, the stat was that $1 that we put in is about a $4 to $8 return. I couldn't find a more current monetary impact of that, but I'm pretty sure that every dollar that we invest in putting water and sanitation into areas has a huge impact on those communities. And then the new goal of Rotary for Environment, of course, water and sanitation impacts the environment. And when we are teaching our own US students to understand that we have to protect and conserve water resources, that's important in itself. But then to also take it globally and figure out what they can do to make sure that everybody in the world someday will have a safe drink of water available is amazing. And then all this equity leads to peace. So peace and resolution is also a part that blue line just weaves through every part of Rotary that we support. And I had a young lady spoke at a World Water Day event in Washington, D.C. on stage with Hillary Clinton. And she was so eloquent when she said, I just can't help but feel that when we connect with kids around the world and we work together, that we won't lead to a more peaceful world. So I think the youth of today really can teach us some lessons as we go along with that. And go ahead, Heidi, please. Most of you are very familiar with water around the world since you're attending this seminar, but we're just throwing some pictures up to show these common sites that you see all over in the developing world in Africa. People walking long distances getting water. These young boys I met in Uganda, and that was the water they were carrying to school. And you often see kids spending hours and hours of their school day walking to the nearest water source to bring water back to their schools. And this picture does have girls and boys doing it. In many of the schools I visited, I've seen that typically girls are asked more often than boys to go down and get the water that's needed for lunch. Girls are asked more often than boys to clean the latrines. So working on that even gender equity through the training that our NGO partners do, I think is making it more equitable in those schools as well. Next slide, please. I got to get mine moving along too. I took this picture in Kenya just to really solidify the fact that people don't have access to safe water in many, many areas. And another thing that we've been tracking in the work that we do through our NGO partners is if you provide water at a school that's improved and safe water to drink and latrines that are adequate for the needs of people, the community embraces that and students go home and they want those same facilities in their households. The other thing that our NGO partners do is employ local workers, local labor, and engage the community to help with building some of these projects. What we found in Kenya particularly was that they had trained people to build latrines and trained people to do rainwater catchment, which really led to more impact in their communities because they started adding them to their homes. So that's really important too. 1 in 3 schools don't have access to toilets. And I think it's getting better as sanitation is becoming more important and people are understanding the need for it. And if we think of the environment, I visited many schools in Kenya where you could tell which tree on the playground was used as the bathroom because you didn't really want to go anywhere near it. So having access to toilets really has an impact on the environment and it has an impact on the well-being and just the pride of schools and everything that happens when they have water and sanitation at schools. And I'm sure Heidi has seen this as well, that many schools that we go to, you'll see many different uniforms at the school. And that is because once a school has access to wash, kids will come from other schools, walk farther to get to that school because those facilities are so important. So next one. A few years ago, Georgia Badil spoke at a conference I went to. She's a fashion model from Burkina Faso. She has a beautiful book called The Water Princess. If you're looking for anything for younger children, it's beautifully done with pictures of walking for water. And her quote that really got to me was, "Don't waste your time and money trying to educate a girl who doesn't have access to water. Water has to be first." Because she lived that life of being interrupted in school to gather water without access to toilets, dropping out of school. So she really is a strong believer that water is that thread that makes everything else happen. If they have access to water, so many great things happen. So H2O for Life began in one school. And I have to admit that the first year I did a project with my students, first I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get the school to allow it to happen. But it was because I had met somebody that became a friend that really needed access to water in their community. And my goal was, let's raise the money and help this community get this project done and talk to the kids. I had to learn a lot about the water crisis. I really didn't know anything about it. And I was pretty shocked when I saw the statistics. But the power came when I went to visit that school project and came back with photos and showed them to this group of kids, who then said, wow, you mean we could really go see that? We really did that. And I think that's the power of connecting schools. And Heidi will go more into this, that we share photos and stories about what the school has currently. Where do they have to go to get water? Do they have access to water? Do they have a toilet? And then when kids see an after picture of raising the funds, the project's done, and they get to see the joy of kids turning on a tap and having adequate facilities, it is powerful. And our hope is that these kids who learn young to be service learning givers and to be connected with philanthropy will continue for the rest of their lives to do good things. But as I said before, we couldn't do it without the support of other partners. So I'm going to turn it over to Heidi to talk about how we work with groups like Freshwater International, who are in Malawi, to do projects together.
Thank you, Patty. And it's wonderful to be together with Patty again online and with you all to talk about our work together. We agree that in partnership, you can really make an impact. I co-founded Freshwater Project International in 2011. We are working to provide clean water, safe sanitation, and hygiene information to people in Malawi, Africa, through our 3 program pillars that include the provision of wash in villages, schools, and health centers. The way that it works, it's a beautiful partnership. The way that it works is the local partners, and that would be partners like Freshwater Project International. We're the implementing partner for Malawi. We select a school in need of wash assistance. Freshwater has 2 in-country staff, and our director of operations is also in Africa. And so they're on the ground, working with communities, working with schools, doing needs assessments to find out what the community needs are, what the school needs are, and reporting that back. We bring that project then to H2O for Life, and they add it to their online crowdfunding platform. A school or youth group then sets up their personal page. Here we have the Sisters for Water. These girls are awesome. They're from Nantucket, and they have been raising funds for H2O for Life for several years by making pot holders. You can see some of their pot holders here. They sell them online, they sell them in person, and the proceeds go towards water projects that they commit to. We were lucky to be selected. One of our projects was selected by them on the H2O for Life website. And so they created their own crowdfunding page, and through various fundraisers, including the pot holders and online, they were able to raise funds for a school project. Here you can see St. Mary's Academy, and we'll be talking a little bit more about this group. This is actually St. Mary's in Colorado. I believe it's in Inglewood, Colorado. They came to us as part of a group called the World Affairs Challenge. It's an academic competition that's put on every year. They said, we want to do a project, and so we got them a project page. They selected Malama Primary School and a latrine project that we were working on. We'll share more about that, but this is their fundraising page. So H2O for Life provides fundraising ideas, lesson plans, K through 12 in every subject. And these are awesome. They've developed it in conjunction with educators over the years. They're tried and tested. There's some really creative, fun ways of raising money. and also sharing information with your local schools about the global water crisis. You can partner with teachers, you can partner with interact groups at your school, various youth groups. I've spoken to Girl Scouts, church youth groups. There is always a way to involve these groups in projects. So then the fundraising and outreach begins. I mentioned our Sisters for Water. Here they're doing lemonade and brownies in addition to selling their pot holders. Here is an event that actually was in Golden, Colorado that I did several years at Golden High School in conjunction with their Interact Club, which is the high school version of Rotary. They're a really active Interact Club, and they got the word out into their communities, and we did an interactive walk for fresh water in conjunction with H2O for Life, and we're able to fund several school projects. I thought this was fun. We haven't done this yet, but this was an idea I saw on the H2O for Life website, Socks for Wash. They partner with We Help Too, a company that has created these beautiful wash socks. And I'm gonna order several pairs of these just for myself because I think they're adorable. So that's another fundraising idea. Other schools have been really creative. They've done water walls. I've seen water museums, all kinds of creative ways that schools decide to raise the funds. Now I mentioned the World Affairs Challenge. That's a group right there in Denver, Colorado. And it's an academic competition for middle school and high school students. They have different themes every year based on those sustainable development goals. And several times we've had groups select Freshwater as their NGO partner. So I'm gonna play the video from the winning group from St. Mary's Academy in Inglewood, Colorado this year that partnered with H2O for Life and Freshwater Project International.
I'm Lloyd Anderson. I'm Autumn Bahai. And I'm Annabelle Good. And we're focusing on SDG number 6, clean water and sanitation. Almost 1 billion people around the world lack access to clean water and sanitation, and almost 8,000 die every day from water-related diseases that are preventable. The water they can't access is contaminated with parasites, bacteria, and toxic pollutants. Women and children have to walk miles each day to collect this contaminated water. Water and sanitation is a problem that the entire world battles. Almost 2 billion people around the world lack access to proper sanitation, and 785 million people lack access to clean drinking water. This is mostly in low-income countries or places with extreme poverty rates. Because of this, nearly 1 million people die every year due to water, sanitation, and hygiene-related diseases. The global pandemic has emphasized the importance of sanitation. This problem the world is facing is called the water crisis. The number and catastrophe make this disaster seem like it can't be fixed, but it can. Our group is focusing on water and sanitation because water is a necessity and human right, and we were shocked by how large the population of people is that don't have access to clean water and good sanitation. How can we help? We are focusing on the Malama Primary School sanitation shortfall. Malama Primary is located in Lilongwe, Malawi, and has a student population of 1,023 students and only 15 teachers. Lack of sanitation plays a role in having so few teachers. The latrines at the school are completely run down and are practically unusable. There are no hand washing stations or soap, and because of this, water and sanitation related diseases have skyrocketed, which repels teachers who are looking to teach. The dropout rates for girls are exceedingly high because of the lack of privacy that is necessary when girls reach puberty. In the 6th year of school, the dropout rates for girls surges mostly due to embarrassment. This means that more girls never finish school and lose the opportunities that come with a completed education. Attendance rates are also low because of the time-consuming task of collecting water. Also, when schools buy or receive soap, it gets stolen because of its high value to be used in other places. Due to this, kids can't use any soap and invite diseases that can be fatal. This is another reason why sanitation is so important, especially during the pandemic. We are partnering with Freshwater Project International to build the new latrines and hand washing stations for Malama Primary. Freshwater focuses on bringing water and sanitation to the rural areas of Malawi. A total of $4,600 is needed to build the new latrines necessary. Freshwater has already installed a water plant for the school and village, which cuts down on the time it takes to collect water. We plan to host an interactive walk for water to raise awareness about the water crisis that the world faces, and in particular, Malawi. Participants can carry water jugs so they can experience what women and children have to do every day. Kids will receive challenge cards that will send them to home, healthcare center, school, and more. The cards have common challenges that Malawians face and will emphasize the importance of clean water and good sanitation. Along the walk, there will be signs with facts to raise further awareness. We are planning to sell other items during the walk, such as glasses and t-shirts. The money we raise will go towards the new latrines and hand washing stations. We are planning our walk to be March 22nd, which is World Water Day. We are, along with partnering with Freshwater Project International, we are also partnering with H2O for Life. H2O for Life is a crowdfunding platform that focuses on partnering schools with other schools in need of funds and repairs. The partners can raise money for the schools in need of help and can also add new projects and funds to the website. This is a sustainable solution because we are going to make this walk into a tradition to continually raise money and awareness. After we graduate, we will offer community service hours to other students to keep the walk going. We hope we continue helping other schools stay H2O for Life even after the Malama Primary School project is completed. We hope we can benefit schools all over the world in the years to come. Earlier, we said that soap was a cause for concern when it got stolen. Our idea is to create powdered soap out of accessible resources found in Malawi and install a hand washing station that dispenses it in small quantities. After this, we place a lock on it so it can't be stolen. When we find a way to use natural resources, the students and teachers can make soap for their school without having to spend a lot of money. Our partner is planning to put in a hand washing station like the one shown in the picture. One tank holds clean water and the other receives the water used for washing hands. There is a small spout for the water to come out of and a small container for soap. While looking at this, we wondered how we could fix the problem of soap being stolen. While brainstorming, we decided on 3 main points. Our solution needs to be accessible, convenient, and most of all safe. Our proposed solution is a soap dispenser that is connected directly to the main water tank. The cylinder in the center is where we will pour in powdered soap, and the lid flips up to insert more soap. The small holes in the cylinder allow the soap to seep out. To dispense the soap, you twist the outer part of the cylinder. The fin attached to the inner cylinder will push the soap out of the faucet. You can't see it here, but the faucet will be slanted upward so soap doesn't drip out. The fin will also mix the soap with water while the soap is being pushed out. Unfortunately, soap easily goes missing in Malawi because there is so little of it. So we needed to come up with a locking mechanism. We came up with the following that still allows the cylinder to spin and soap to flow out, and it locks easily. The design includes a narrow metal plate fixed to the top of the cylinder with a small pin that still permits the capsule to spin. Attached to the top of the larger body cylinder is a C-shaped narrow plate. Both plates have holes that a combination lock can go through when the lid is closed. We believe that with this solution, we can help Malama Primary and other places all around the world. After all, water is life! Thank you to our partners, Freshwater Project International and H2O for Life, for all their help. A special thanks to Miss Heidi Rickles. We couldn't have made this a reality without her.
All right. Let's see how I get to the next slide here.
Very impressive youth.
Those are 8th graders, by the way. Really amazing. I'm just gonna see on my oops.
I'm Anna Bahai, and
Sorry about that. I'm just trying to go on to our next slide here. There we go. Let me go back to screen share. Okay, so after the fundraising has happened. And by the way, this group, I think they put as their fundraising goal $400, and they ended up blowing it out of the water. In addition to winning first place in the World Affairs Challenge, winning $500 for the project at that, they did their walk, a crowdfunding campaign. They sold t-shirts and glasses. They ended up raising the entire amount for this project, so over $4,000. Really impressive, and it really shows the impact that just a few students can make. So once the funding is secured and the project is planned, implementation begins. Patty mentioned that we work together with the local communities and schools. We have local contractors that come in, and here you can see our drilling machine drilling down to the water table about 45 meters, and always attracts a lot of attention from students, from the children of the village. They want to come see this big machine and what it's doing to their water. We engage the local community. So we have community members that agree to provide local resources, including sand and concrete aggregate. They help with some of the manual labor, digging ditches, and working together with some of our local contractors to do what we call the civil works, the installation of the hand pump and the drainage apron that you can see here. Involving the local community and the local school in the project helps encourage ownership and sustainability. They also have a water point committee or a school water point committee that is part of the process throughout, learns how to repair and source parts for the hand pump, and helps to continue the ongoing sustainability of the project. Here you can see our safe, private, clean latrines, urinals, and hand washing stations that we install at all of these projects. So it ends up being a holistic project, including the teaching of hand hygiene and now COVID prevention education, as well as menstrual hygiene management for young girls and secondary school girls. Here you can see the results. We have Natalie, who says, thank you for supporting us with an improved pit latrine toilets. We have had difficulties in accessing toilets for a long time as they were inadequate. So once again, thank you so much. As you can see, these are high quality VIP latrines that we've installed. So together, H2O for Life and Freshwater Project change lives for students in Malawi. Happy students celebrate clean water, safe sanitation, and hygiene in their schools. And healthier students are able to attend more school. H2O for Life Service Learning Project changes lives for US students. They become global citizens who understand that they can work together to change the world. Patty?
I'll jump back in here. So Rotary clubs worldwide and H2O for Life have worked together, as I said before, to do 60 projects through global grants around the world. And it was a great collaboration with Rotary clubs all across the nation and across the world. Procter & Gamble came in as a corporate sponsor. H2O for Life schools did a lot of the fundraising for this, and together the $1.2 million was raised. So there is really potential to make these partnerships happen together. And all the projects provided water point with filtration, gender separate latrines, menstrual hygiene stations, hygiene education training, and development of a sustainability program. And anybody who's done a global grant recently knows that they're really arduous. You have to do a lot of work to prepare for those grants to get them going, but they're well worth doing because the matching funds are so great and you can get a lot of work done pretty quickly. Next slide, please. So what can we do together? H2O Life and Rotary clubs and WASH organizations working together, we can help create district and global grants. So I've pretty much exhausted my White Bear Lake Club. I've done global grants and district grants for about 6 or 7 years, and I think they want me to just move aside and let somebody else do some work for a while. So I would put it out there that we can offer to help you find projects And a club can do just one school and make a huge difference. And it's not a ton of money. If a single club connected with their local schools in their community and got something going, you could easily fund a project within your Rotary year. So introduce H2O for Life to your local school or club. We work with Interact clubs, schools, church groups, individuals, anybody who wants to really get on board with this project, we help them get that going. And I think our crowdfunding page is great. There are ways for students to set up individual fundraisers. They can set up classroom fundraisers. It is really easy for those kids to raise those funds to get these projects going. Our service learning platform is pretty robust. As Heidi said, we have educational materials, ideas. Students can submit reports of what they're doing as their project's going on that they can share with their parents and their community. So it's very interactive for the kids. And we also have a new program called Water Guardians, which is for 5th through 8th graders, and it takes students on a journey down the Mississippi River. And once they reach the river, they've talked about pollution, things that they can do for development, all the issues that are affecting water. And when they get to the end of the Mississippi, it goes globally, and that's when they choose their project to do. We are also working on projects within the United States because the need has become very apparent that areas like the Navajo reservations, Appalachia, and others also do not have access to water. So recently we've had schools reach out and provide water points for those areas as well. Next slide. So I want to just take you through a local recent district grant that we did that we just completed in my club a short time ago, just to talk you through the steps of how we did that. First of all, we identified a school that needed support, and I had actually taken a Rotary group to visit some projects in Kenya that we had worked on in the past. And we saw a school for Maasai girls that we could see really needed some assistance in their water sanitation and hygiene impact. So we identified the scope of the project with that local community because we needed a connection on the ground since we're not in Narok, Kenya. And we connected with a local community-based organization that was vetted by the local government and community that could do this work. And they sent us back a proposal for $18,000. Now, this project was going to provide water sanitation and hygiene education for a teacher's housing area built right on the school compound. Because as Heidi mentioned before, you can't keep good teachers if they don't have adequate facilities because they'll move on. So by providing adequate facilities for teachers who usually come with their families to have access to water for cooking, bathing, cleaning, it makes a huge difference for that whole school community. So along with Rotary raising funds for this project, H2O for Life connected with 2 US schools that raised $5,500 for the project. Our Rotary clubs, along with 9 clubs in District 5960, raised $6,250, which was matched by our district. And together we raised $18,000 for the project. Now, all of you in Rotary know that this is a little longer process. It doesn't happen in a couple of weeks. But in our district, the process is to apply for the grant in July. And then that Rotary year you use to raise your funds. Well, I was pretty proactive on this and started reaching out to clubs in March or April when we knew we wanted to do this project. We had all the funds in our doors and raised by August. So the project is now in process and hopefully will be completed by Christmas so that they can start their new school year with these facilities in place. So the photos are just showing pictures of a club that donated funds to this. The girls in this Maasai school in a big area, they have rainwater catchment, but we've also put a borehole into that school. And so now adding more rainwater catchment and connection to the borehole for the teachers' facilities. And then some of our Rotary members that worked hard to raise the funds for this project. So it is very doable. It's not hard to get your schools together. I think mostly Rotary needs the connections. So Heidi and I are here to tell you that you could do work in Malawi. She's got a breadth of schools. She's not going to run out of schools. We're not going to run out of US schools that want to do this work. We can help raise some of those funds that will support your projects if you want to take on a Rotary project within your own club. Next slide. We can be the generation remembered for ending the global water crisis. And Matt Damon is really a poster card for a celebrity that has embraced water and has stayed with it for years. And I love that quote that he says, we can solve this problem. And how do we want to be remembered? because we can do this. We can change the lives of kids at schools. It so improves the economic development in a community and changes the opportunities for all these children to go on and have great careers. So next slide. I think we might be done. So if you want to connect with us, H2O for Life can be reached through our website, and that is my cell phone. And Freshwater Project International has their website as well with their cell phone number. So please call us if you have any questions or how we can help you get started with the project. And we have some time for questions.
Okay, well, I don't know if, can I start here, or is it first
Sure.
for the physical audience? Okay.
Go for it.
Firstly, okay, Patty and Heidi, thank you so much for sharing what you're doing. So without a long introduction, I work in India, and my question was, I had two questions actually. One was when I saw this, the issue of soap being stolen, and these kids were trying to come up with some pretty bright ideas about how to prevent that. I faced the same crisis when I was in Chandigarh when I was teaching health. By the way, I do comprehensive health education, sanitation and water and hygiene is part of it, but I do everything from nutrition to, it's a very comprehensive program, which the teachers have to agree to teach 40 hours of health education over an academic year. So I faced the same problem, and I didn't come up with the solution. So I'm just curious why these girls did not use a liquid dispenser. You can make these. You shouldn't use the glass ones because they'll break, and the soaps get stolen all the time. So this is maybe a question for Heidi, because she probably mentored these girls in Evergreen. Why did they not try to use liquid soap, which maybe in Malawi it was not available. In Chandigarh, where I worked in the slum schools, you could buy liquid soap. And I tried to get the dispensers, but this is a funny story. When I gave the principal the dispenser, guess what the principal said? She said, "I'm going to put this in my bathroom." I said, "That's not what it's for. It's for the children's bathroom, not your bathroom."
Yeah.
So I'll go back there and find out whether she put it in her bathroom or in the children's bathroom. But anyway, my question is, why wasn't liquid soap an option unless it's just not available?
Yeah, that is a great question. And with this group in particular, they had a lot of latitude. Part of the World Affairs Challenge is to take hold of a global challenge and come up with a solution. So these 8th grader from St. Mary's had a lot of latitude to use their creativity to come up with this. I did work together with them, and in Malawi, liquid soap is definitely less available. They're familiar with bar soap. It's a little bit easier to access, but then you have the issue of disappearing soap. So
Yes.
we're, now that they have presented their solution, we're working together more with them on how to actually implement these hand washing stations in a way that will work. And so we're going to kind of continue to look at it. But the real, I think, point of the project and all of it, because it was holistic, not just looking at hand washing and hand hygiene, but the holistic wash approach to it. The point, I think, was seeing and inspiring these girls to come up with a solution, and that they could make an impact through raising money financially, but they can start thinking of ideas and creatively engaging, and throughout their education as they grow, as they learn more about various fields. There is a huge push for STEM education in schools, and this gave them a hands-on opportunity to really test something out. So we see it as kind of a what's the word for it? Not a pilot, but a kind of a test project for a way that they can have an impact and come up with a solution. So Patty, did you have a thought on that?
Well, one thing I also would like to mention, those are future entrepreneurs that are going to hopefully develop
Yes.
something great in the future. And I do also want to mention that H2O for Life does offer an entrepreneurial grant. So a school or students can apply for up to $500 to buy materials that they need to get something going. It could be to kickstart their project, to buy t-shirts and sell them. We had a school in Chicago that was a pretty low income school that said, we don't know how we're going to raise money because we don't have disposable income to throw into this. So they started a school store and sold pencils and snacks and different things. And by the end of the school year, they were able to donate $5,000 because of just starting the store and keeping it running. But the skills they learned on the way were amazing. So I think a part of the whole educational piece that we use is, what are kids getting from this? How can we develop leadership skills and collaboration skills and all these things that kids need to do, which is really important for our world. So Heidi, I was so impressed to see what those young people had done. And it's just a start, it's a start for a project and a great idea. So thanks for your comments.
Yeah.
Just one brief comment, Heidi. Patty. I used to live in Stillwater. My kids went to Stillwater High School. I've been living in Canyon City for the last 12 years. And next year we're moving back to the Twin Cities. So maybe I'll connect with you, Patty. Okay.
Come to White Bear Lake. And if you were in Stillwater, I don't know how long ago, but we were working in their middle school for about 10 years with a teacher named Sarah Damon. So your kids might have interacted. Yeah.
And no, they had graduated by then, but that's okay. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Other questions?
We got about 3 minutes left. I don't know.
Hi, this is Katie Troyer with the Kibera Girls Soccer Academy. I'm a mom with 2 kids at DPS, and I think this is a wonderful program. My question is, have you found more private schools like St. Mary's getting involved, or have you also had a lot of public schools participate too? Thank you.
Well, I can take that one on. We do have private schools, and often they can raise a lot of funds pretty quickly. But I think the majority of our schools are just typical public schools that hop on board and raise anywhere between $500 to $8,000. It's amazing what kids can raise when they really put their minds to it and come up with some creative activities. The first year that my school did a project, our goal was $7,000, which I thought was really going to be hard to reach. And in fact, I talked to my husband and said, could we match $3,500 if that's what they raise? Those kids raised $13,000. And it was incredible, the things that kids individually did, and they did together as a group, and we did as a school. So when you get kids going in the right direction, they want to do good, and we can help them along with that process.
Yeah, and I would concur. I think we've seen the gamut. I mean, we've seen our 2 water sisters, they're 2 girls that decided they were going to take this on. And I forget the total of what they've raised, but it's something like $80,000 or something for projects. They do one each year. And so freshwater, our project was just one of those projects. But through making pot holders and selling brownies and lemonade, it's really amazing. In fact, my kids this summer decided they wanted to do a lemonade stand, and we went right downtown Whitefish, which is a big tourist area in the summer. We're right near Glacier National Park, and we had people lined up. I mean, they couldn't wait. And when they found out it was for a good cause, they were buying, a $1 cup of lemonade. And it was really amazing to see the enthusiasm of just 2 kids, but then also the people that they were engaging. They were saying, what is this for? Clean water. Oh, that is so wonderful. And they wanted to know more. And so I think small groups, large groups, public schools, private schools, youth groups, scouts, that's the whole point. Anybody can be part of this and be passionate and find a way to make an impact. So,
and I see this as an opportunity for Rotary. I really do, to get connected with schools within your community, to engage kids, to let them know that there is a path of people that are doing service in their communities already, and that they can be part of it. And I truly think it will lead to, Rotary is losing people. It seems like that, we don't keep going up, and we need to engage that younger group of people to know that there's a place out for them that they can join and continue to do good work. So I encourage every Rotary Club to look at their schools, to try to engage their kids, whether it's for a water project or some other project that you're working on in your club, but you'll be surprised at what those youth can come up with.
Yes.
Patty and Heidi, this is Steve, and
Hey,
since I
Steve.
work with both of you, I know the answer, but I think it would be good to talk about how you ensure there's some sustainability around the Washington School projects by working with partners, things like that. So can you talk about how you do check up on these projects afterwards, make sure they're sustainable?
Sure. I'll speak to Malawi as an implementing partner. And I don't know if we're going to get kicked out of this room. I think we'll have a chance just in a second. But as I mentioned, we have a WaterPoint committee for each school that we work with, and they're integral and involved in this entire process. So they're being educated on WASH and are part of the implementation. We require a community contribution, as I mentioned, of local supplies and also some manual labor. We involve the students as well. We have some of the student leaders that are involved in this. They're involved in the hygiene education aspects, as we have the teachers involved in teaching and training the students and interacting with them. And from a sustainability perspective, Freshwater Project International's local team on the ground has a monitoring and evaluation program for 5 years after the project is complete. And so they're checked up on quarterly, and then any issues that arise, we work together with the WaterPoint committee and the schools to help address those if need be, follow up with teachers, make sure the committees are running smoothly, and provide whatever resources and support we can. We report that back then to our partners at H2O for Life. We're able to share pictures and videos and reports about the impact with the students. And I think that helps make a difference. We're really talking about a relationship